NFL locker rooms may change forever. Alex Rodriguez is still a jerk. And all those James Bond movies I watched growing up as a kid were right. Russia is a hellhole. All this and more in the next From My Man Cave coming at you right now. Hey everyone, I'm Ray Carsillo. Welcome to another episode of From My Man Cave, a weekly look back at the week of sports from my sometimes unique perspective. First off, it's actually been 2 weeks since last you saw me. I want to explain I was out on assignment in Vegas covering the DICE Awards last Friday. I thought I would have time during my downtime to possibly record an episode from location, but unfortunately that just did not happen, and again, I kept getting pushed back. So here we are 2 weeks after the last episode. But never fear, we'll cover everything that's happened since then a little quickly. Last I saw you, I predicted the Seattle Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. I was correct on that prediction, but nobody saw the absolute, annihilation of the Denver Broncos. I really thought it was going to be a much closer game. I think a lot of people did, no matter who won. But the Seahawks were obviously the better team, and they were very well deserving. And as always, folks, defense wins Super Bowls. Old school beats new school. And I finished the playoffs with a winning record, 6-5. Not bad. Could be better, obviously, but I won the big game. I won the game that counts. So 6-5 playoff record. Malcolm Smith, of course, was the MVP. Fumble recovery, pick six, 5 tackles. Third linebacker to be named MVP in Super Bowl history. First since Ray Lewis back in 2000 against my New York Giants, unfortunately. And the second in a winning effort. The first linebacker, I believe, was for the Cowboys in a losing effort. I want to say way back, like when the Super Bowl was still in single digits. Anyway, so there you go. We celebrated here in the Carsillo household with me doing my rendition of Beast Mode on these Skittles, trying to open up the bag. None amazingly made it on the floor. Did not spill a single Skittle. But yep. So Super Bowl winners, Seattle Seahawks. Now it's time to start looking forward to the draft. Also interesting, strength of schedules was released. The official math. This past week. Oakland Raiders, hardest schedule next season. Indianapolis Colts, the weakest. Obviously, that's because of the divisions they play in. The Giants, though, will be in the have the sixth easiest schedule. So I'm kind of looking forward to us maybe making a nice run, depending if we have a good draft and have a good free agent signing class. But anyway, moving on now. Speaking of football, I'm sure most of you have heard, a man by the name of Michael Sam came out a player for Missouri. One of the most feared defensive players in the SEC, and he came out as gay. And a lot of people obviously have very differing opinions on this. No matter what happens, personally, I think good for him. He made a very brave move, obviously. It's a shame that guys like Jonathan Vilma and his own father were vehemently against this. Vilma, of course, was rewarded immediately by being cut by the Saints. So I think that's karma there. Maybe Sam will go be drafted by the Saints. He could go replace Vilma. That would be really poetic. But, so even though I know Sam plays a different position, but he could be converted to a linebacker. He's fast enough. He has the speed if you actually watch him on tape. Personally, I wouldn't mind him on the Giants. But anyway, the point is that, of course, he did a very brave thing, and it's a big deal because it makes us analyze NFL locker room culture, which is notoriously chauvinistic and, 1950s macho. It's like an episode of Mad Men in most of those locker rooms. No, and this isn't all players, but it's usually a culture that's been cultivated over time. Sam was considered to be somewhere in the third to fifth round draft pick, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, because if he's not drafted at all, it's going to make the NFL look very, very bad. It's going to make them look very backwards. It's going to make them look very ancient in terms of their thinking. Even if he slips to maybe the 7th round, there'll be still some criticism, but probably not as much. But if he's not drafted at all, you're going to see a severe analysis, I think, of locker room culture in this country. And I think that the NFL, in order to avoid that, would probably be just better off having somebody draft him. Of course, there's also the other side of the coin. If that he goes in the 1st or 2nd round, then you can say that the team drafting him is doing it simply because he's... and it's not. It happened before that in the NFL that there's been a reach, and I'm not saying it's not possible. But what most people will probably say is that they're trying to get media attention. Maybe they're not filling a need, depending on what the situation is. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes in the 3rd round, 4th round, 5th round. Obviously, it's a great story. It ends up being a great story, all around win-win. The NFL looks good. Michael Sam looks good. Going to make a nice payday. Probably somewhere down the line. Obviously, rookie contracts aren't what they once were. But I think that it's very interesting to see what happens with this, and I will be rooting for him. And I know that obviously that not everybody will, but hopefully he will be drafted. Moving on to other backwards thinkers and people who really don't know what they're doing. Alex Rodriguez, or as A-Rod, as I lovingly call him, Ass-Rod. What a jerk! Dropped his lawsuit while we were away, and I really with Major League Baseball should we still be trying to talk hot stove pitchers and catchers reported today, which is great. Tanaka for the Yankees has Mariano Rivera's old locker, which is putting a lot of pressure on the guy right off the bat. But of course, he's $20 million a year. You're gonna have to live up to that. But he dropped his lawsuit against Major League Baseball and the union and all that, and he won't attend spring training. So for at least one more year, at least for this year, Alex Rodriguez will not be a distraction in the Yankees clubhouse, and I am thankful for it. I'm thankful he seemed for once to come to his senses. He's going to suck it up. Obviously, it's going to be a huge pay cut for him because he's going to have to. He forfeits 25 of the $27.5 million in his contract for this year, which makes the Yankees happy, and that makes me happy. So he's getting what he deserves. He's an idiot. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's just a stupid guy. Not always, of course, are those mutually exclusive, but I think in this case, I think they are separate. I don't think Alex is a bad guy. I think he's just a stupid guy, and he hurts the game. Also, speaking of the Yankees, the captain, Derek Jeter, unceremoniously almost announced his retirement on Facebook the other day. He will be missed. He will be impossible to replace. And he is easily a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't care what anybody says if you're a Yankee fan or not. He is easily, out of the steroid era, one of, if not the best player to play in that era. Obviously, out of this moment, completely clean. And he epitomizes what is good about the game of baseball. So, moving on, the Olympics! What a disaster this has been so far. First off, Sochi was a horrible place to hold the games. If you didn't see, Shaun White pulled from one of his events because he fears for his own safety because the snow is constantly melting in Sochi because it is a beach resort town. It is not a place where the Winter Olympics should be held. And of course, Shaun White smartly and his brand is worth way more than any one of those gold medals. A lot of people complaining, journalists, athletes. Sochi's a disaster. In the end, the town will do better, which is good for them because they had a lot of money sunk into it and actually got updated roads, hotels, infrastructure, because they were supposedly, beforehand, journalists have been reporting that Sochi was one of the most backwards cities in all of Russia, which is such a backwards country to begin with that it's ridiculous, that it's almost unfathomable. Just look at poor Bob Costas. He washed his face and he came away with pink eye. Like, what's the matter? Like, holy cow, you can't get clean water in the hotels? It makes Russia look very bad in a chance where Putin was, of course, their president, trying to make them look once again like a re-emerging superpower. Instead, they look like a joke. They look like a backwards, ridiculous third world nation almost on the grandest stage of them all, and it's actually kind of sad. But at the end of the day, that's part of what the Olympics have become. It's no longer about the sporting event. It's about the politics. It's about the spectacle. It's about the fact that, you know what, who cares about these athletes as long as my country looks good or my country is more recognized and whatnot. And it's kind of a shame that the Olympics have devolved in this, partially because also the International Olympic Committee is a joke as well. And most of those people should step down or it should be dissolved, and something else should be put in its place. Also, I'm also very mad because all the hockey games air at 4:30 in the morning here in LA. That's because of the time difference. So I'm not happy about that. I just want to say, though, everyone who says that Team USA is not going to do well, I think Team USA is set up better than any other team in this tournament to do well in the hockey tournament because they are the only team to actually put people into roles. They have defensive forwards, they have penalty killers, they have people who in specific roles set for specific tasks, and I think that it allowed them that without the time to practice, like most Olympic teams, trying to make up for the fact that they can't practice as much as they would like to, that they can just go and do what they know how to do and fit into a system, a simpler system, which benefits them better. Russia will do well and put up a good, strong showing. Sweden, of course, who's the favorite to win it all, will be very good on the back of Henrik Lundqvist. I believe he had a 1-0 shutout today against Switzerland. So they'll do well. Don't get me wrong, but don't count out the Americans. And of course, Team Canada. If you count out Team Canada, I think you're fooling yourself. You're really doing yourself a disservice. But I think those are the 4 teams to watch out for. Some people were saying Finland would have a better showing than I don't think they will. Some people were saying Slovakia, and the U.S. spanked them 7-1. So take that. No, I think those are the 4 teams that you're going to see probably looking into medal games: Sweden, Russia, USA, Canada. Russia, of course, is going to get the boost for being there, but that's my prediction for Olympic hockey. The rest of the Olympics are a joke. I don't care what anybody says, but any sport, it's more an event. Gymnastics, figure skating, anything that is done with a score that is subjective to a degree and has as much corruption surrounding it as a lot of these sports do. Obviously, gymnastics is Summer Olympics, I understand that, but I'm just saying, as an example, score-based games. Sports should be set within a certain rules, and skill should determine that. Now, obviously, a certain amount of skill goes into it, but I think there's way too much subjectivity in a lot of those other sports, like figure skating and whatnot, and it's just kind of, that bothers me because yes, there are defined things. You have to take a point off for this, point off for this, point off for this. But at the end of the day, the most deciding factor usually is someone's opinion, and that is ridiculous when it comes to my opinion. Yeah, it's ridiculous that someone's opinion will determine the winner of a competition. Because honestly, then I should get a gold medal. Best talker in the world. Best talker right now. I can just tell you right now, smartest guy in the world. I want gold medals. I want a gold medal stack this high because that's my opinion. And who put these guys, I'm being ridiculous now, but anyway, so that's it. A lot to go through this week, but a little bit of a longer episode, trying to make up for last week. I want to thank everybody for sitting through this. As always, contact me on Twitter, @RayCarsillo. Argue with me. Leave comments below. I love to start a conversation. A lot of controversial stuff I said this week, a lot of stuff going on. Are you for Michael Sam in the NFL? Are you for the Olympics? What do you think of Sochi, how they've handled it so far? To me, it's been a disaster. Let me know, comments below, @RayCarsillo on Twitter. And until next week, everybody, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and have a safe and happy Valentine's Day weekend.